The United States' current fervent investment in AI has reached a level that is somewhat baffling. In February 2024, fueled by the impact of ChatGPT, AI-related stocks in the US stock market soared wildly. Nvidia surged fivefold, Supermicro jumped 7.7 times, ARM tripled in value. AMD gained 1.2 times, Intel rose 58%, and Microsoft doubled in price. With over a year of such growth, American billionaires significantly increased their wealth. Mark Zuckerberg's personal fortune grew by 37.1 billion, Huang REN XUN SBY 19.6 billion, Su Zifeng AMD CEO. By 1.2 billion, Lian Jianho opening parenthesis, SUPER MICRO CEO closing parenthesis, by 6.2 billion, Jeff Bezos by 16.1 billion, and Larry Ellison by 7.3 billion. In just 15 months, the US stock market added trillions of dollars in wealth to a host of billionaires and companies. Undoubtedly, these soaring stocks contain significant speculative bubbles that are nearly impossible to deflate. The prices have risen to absurd and unsustainable levels. However, it is also evident that the United States is investing in AI with a national effort driven by a determination to succeed. Why is the US so obsessed with AI? Put simply, the US fears losing its productivity edge to China and sees AI as the solution to this problem. Why AI, then? Because it's the only viable option left for the US. As detailed in my Russian survey report, Russia's youth are increasingly reluctant to perform manual labor. A Chinese worker's efficiency is at least equivalent to 2.5 Russian workers. Rather than work for low wages, Russians prefer to sit in offices and avoid physically demanding jobs. This trend of youth aristocratization is inevitable in China, the US, and Russia, albeit at different paces. The US, with a smaller population than China, relies on Mexican labor to fill the gap. Similarly, China will eventually face this issue, albeit delayed by 2 decades. It's foreseeable that China will eventually rely on Southeast and South Asian workers for manual labor, freeing up its own citizens from jobs like dishwashing and sewer cleaning. Russia, not being a global leader, can afford to let its youth opt out of manual labor without significant consequences. However, the US, as the self-proclaimed global beacon, cannot afford a decline in productivity, as it would destabilize the global system and cause significant social unrest. The US must act swiftly to address this challenge. The US's primary challenge is a lack of workers in factories. Young people are reluctant to enter the manufacturing sector, and the country's own deindustrialization efforts since 1965 have further eroded its industrial base. Even under President Trump's efforts, few factories returned to the US, and those that did struggled to find workers. To address this crisis, the US has pursued two main strategies: subtraction from China and addition to the US. Subtraction involves forcing factories to relocate from China. As the primary consumers of Chinese goods, the US and Europe wield significant leverage over Chinese manufacturers. Many Chinese factories have been coerced into moving to Southeast Asia to maintain access to US and European markets. Addition, on the other hand, involves bolstering domestic production capabilities. One approach is to support Mexico's industrialization, despite historical reluctance due to geopolitical concerns. However, even as some Chinese factories relocate to Mexico, the US imposes tariffs, creating additional challenges for these businesses. The other addition strategy is to invest heavily in AI. With factories unwilling or unable to return to the US and a shrinking labor pool, the US aims to establish fully automated factories powered by AI to retain critical industries within its borders. While the US recognizes that it cannot replicate China's massive industrial scale solely through AI, it hopes to retain key industries and maintain its competitiveness through automation and robotics. The US financial sector's enthusiasm for AI has also contributed to the hype, further fueling the frenzy. Ultimately, the US's pursuit of AI is a response to the challenges of productivity, labor shortages, and global competition. It's a bet on the future, leveraging technology to maintain its global leadership and ensure economic prosperity. China's focus on new productivity models and the US's emphasis on AI represent parallel efforts to address similar challenges, albeit through different means.